she's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour. We're so happy to have you with us here today. We hope that you are joining the conversation on our Facebook page and also following us at Twitter and Instagram, of course, at My360Karma. Today, we're going to be talking about three of my favorite things: wine, women, and wealth, with financial expert Rita Boccuzzi. Please give Rita a warm welcome. Hi, Rita.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thank you, Katherine.
Good.
I am doing fabulous. Thank you.
Well, you know, I've heard about your wine, women, and wealth gatherings for quite a while.
Yes.
And I know everybody talks highly of them, and that you're doing great work to help empower women financially.
Absolutely.
With not that you're giving out money, but but you're giving out great advice so that
Right.
women can cultivate wealth. And I love your story of how you got there and how you're helping people. So let's talk about that.
Sure.
So you're originally from Florida? From California?
From California, yes, born and
I'm
raised.
the one from Florida. Yeah, born and raised here. And in your journey to where you're at now, helping other women, it was, I know, a trying road. And so I want to talk about that, you know, you had cancer, you beat cancer, that you help other women know how to beat what you call financial cancer. And we're
Yep.
going to talk what that means.
Yes.
But what was your road to getting to where you're helping women now, even pre-cancer? Like,
Yes.
yeah. What's your story?
Well, so for me, it was really curiosity as a child growing up, asking questions, and really kind of hearing from people saying, you know, that's not a topic for young children to discuss with the older adults.
Meaning money or banking.
Money,
and-
yeah, because I would be asking questions about money and just
Yeah.
understanding, like, you know, why somebody had a bigger house or more amenities or things like that. You know,
Right.
just curious questions,
Yeah.
and being told, you know, that's not a subject for young ladies from different people, teachers even, and really just, you know, thinking about that we didn't learn much in school.
Yeah, it was a different time too.
It
Wasn't
was a
where
different time.
They thought men would handle the checkbook, and they didn't teach the little girls.
Right.
But basically, they weren't teaching anybody. I mean, in our schooling, I don't know if they have it in the schools today. I imagine
It's getting better. It is getting
must,
better.
yeah.
But, you know, that is one model to help us grow and get educated and socialized and have jobs. Not so much a model for teaching about wealth. And so for me, I think the only thing I learned was breaking a dollar. And then I had a really awesome teacher that shared, and I'm going to date myself, how to manage your passbook and your checking book and balance that.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. And then
what
you're
a
out.
wonderful teacher.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
And that actually, she inspired me, motivated me, that I could ask more and I could learn more. And I started doing that. I started learning about real estate investing early on, buying my
Wow.
first property at age 21.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Thank you. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's all possible. It's really just about the education and learning and the language. You know, most people hear negative societal isms like money's the root of all evil,
Yeah.
versus positive talk, which is probably, you know, maybe a small percentage of the population that is getting that information. And that's what we want to shift, because
Yeah.
then there's that group like myself where was the discussion?
Well, that is so true. And it's interesting, you know, they're teaching and still are English, science, history, but what about finances and how to do everyday things that are so crucial to one's security, success, happiness, peace of mind,
Right.
taking care of a family, you know? And so it is baffling that that's never been the one of the first priorities that people are taught in school.
100%.
Business plans too. You know, so many people today are entrepreneurs more than ever, and so I know there are some more, like in colleges. I know UCLA and
Yes.
USC have now entrepreneurial programs that they didn't have when I was in college.
Right.
You know, back in the 1800s. But you know, how wonderful that they have that now. But this thing about teaching financial philosophies, strategies, so
Right.
that everybody wins. Everybody from inner city kids to
Right. I
others.
agree.
Wouldn't that be? I mean, wouldn't it be great if every kid bought their first property at 21? Oh my God, they'd all
Oh,
be so wealthy.
it
at,
would be so
at
amazing.
40 by the time it had doubled and tripled, and it'd be a wonderful program to start in the schools.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we do. I teach in partnership with partners of mine
Yeah.
a money principles workshop.
Yeah,
and it's
I
six
love
key
that.
money principles. And actually, we do these workshops free. So I have gone to schools and taught it, and police departments and companies, and we do teach that.
That's great. You're doing a good thing.
It's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Economics in high school is getting a little bit better about teaching some of these things. My kids have started to see that. And that was the crux for me, is my children,
Yeah.
to create that shift. What was I going to teach them if I wasn't taught myself?
Right, and so you
I
wanted
had to
them to
learn.
know what you didn't.
Absolutely. But I had to learn first, so I
Yeah.
knew what to share.
Sure, and I love that you had that curiosity from day one. Not everybody has that curiosity. Not everybody's into numbers or finances, even though everyone should learn those principles. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like you were saying, a business plan. Every home, every household is a business.
Yes.
Right? There's income, there's expenses.
Yes.
So really, if we looked at it and really just made things super simple
Yeah.
and understanding in language that we understood, and that's what our workshop does, is it really is at a very simplistic level so everybody can understand it. They could actually attend it more than once, as often as they need, and we have them virtually as well. So that this way it creates that learning, saving, and the principles of protecting money. Wealthy people really spend actually more time learning about how to protect their money than how to save, because they already have those principles and those habits down. And it's all around the mindset. It's really simple. If you believe you can, you can.
Right.
If you don't believe you can,
Then you
then
can't.
you can't.
Right.
And so
Well, that only makes sense. That seems such a trite thing to say, kind of. I mean, but if people really think about it, it's so true. And you've heard that thing: if you think you can, you can.
Yep.
If you can't,
It's
think you
that
can't, you
simple.
can't. And it is that simple. But what does that really mean? And what that really means is, if you can see it and visualize it. Someone just said this to me the other day. I love this, about if you don't know where you want to go to put in your personal GPS.
Yeah.
How can you possibly get there? It's no different than your car. Your car is not going to know what the destination is unless you put in an address for the GPS.
I love it. I call that an FPS, a financial positioning system.
Right.
Right? So same thing.
How can you get from here to there if you don't know where there is?
Right.
But if you know where there is, you will find a way to get there, right? You'll find the
Absolutely.
directions one way or the other, knocking on doors, going to seminars, reading books.
Going to the library.
Yeah.
That's how I started. So
Really?
you mentioned when I got sick. So I wanted to teach my children. My children were in junior high and high school, graduating from each of those
When you got
levels
cancer.
when I got cancer.
Wow.
Which was really devastating for me, because I just felt like, oh my gosh, there potentially could not be enough time in the world for me to share everything that I wanted. So
Right.
in my head, once I got better, which was also really great, because that helped me, because my focus wasn't on my sickness. My focus was on getting better
I love
and to
that.
create a shift. So
Yeah.
it gave me a purpose to focus on. And then I honestly I was well enough to go to the library, get a book, and then on my good days, and then I would just read. That was the big thing for me. And as I was reading and learning, got this education and inspired to participate in wealth building courses, because I knew you had to surround yourself with people that knew how to do it. So it's not just the millionaires and billionaires, it's actually their financial people. What are they teaching their family members? What is the information that they're passing on? So I started to create my own workshops, because in the financial services arena, I really felt that there wasn't education. And I mean education without expectation, without selling people, without telling people what to do, really teaching them so that, because you want to be comfortable. If you're creating that negative,
Right.
nervous energy around money, then what are you going to get? Negative, nervous results, right?
Right.
Not always best decisions are made with negative, nervous
Yes.
mindset.
Yes, people don't want to talk about money. People are embarrassed about their situation.
Yes.
I think 50 to 80% of people are not where they want to be.
I agree.
And I use that big window. It's probably more like 80%.
Yeah, it's closer.
And they are too embarrassed to ask for help or to learn or ask questions. So it's so nice that you create this safe environment.
Absolutely.
Especially for women. I think women more than anyone tend to have not had the tools and knowledge given to them in their youth, like we were just saying. There was that disparity. Maybe it's changing a little bit today. I don't know. And being with other women who are in the same position, so they have that safe comfort zone to ask questions.
Absolutely.
And to learn. So I love what you're doing.
And that's what Wine Women Wealth is. It is that
'Cause,
community.
I'm all about empowering women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You are 100% on the mark. One of the most powerful statements a gal said to me at one of our Wine Women Wealth events was, Rita, you have helped me to break my silence of living in silent shame. And the key word silent shame, how many people silent, they're just not saying anything. And she felt comfortable enough to come, be curious enough to come, and just see
for
what's
someone
going
to
on.
come and say, hey, I'm 50, I'm 60, I haven't even started my financial plan. And there are people, I think in a great majority, so I don't think people out there listening should think they're the only one,
They're
that
not.
are starting. And that's okay. But the key is to start, right?
Absolutely.
Even no matter how small.
Well, and the average age really is mid-50s when people are actually just starting. And the reason for that is we go to school, we get an education, right? We maybe start our careers. Some of us start families. Then we're also doing dual with our careers. And then we wake up and we're in our mid-50s going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I forgot to think about me
Yes.
and my retirement.
Right.
And it's not, when I talk about retirement, it's our later lifestyle. Because retirement isn't sitting in the rocking chair,
Right.
watching the weeds grow, or,
Right.
you know, it is about, wow, you know what? I want to travel the world. You know, I want to, for me, have a villa in Italy and have retreats and have people come. I don't even
Villa in
believe,
Italy. That
right?
sounds great. I'll be your neighbor.
You're coming, right?
Won't you be my neighbor?
That's right. And that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
So see the energy shift on that? Because when you just say retirement, people are like, oh no. But if you say, oh my gosh, my villa in Italy spending plan or my travel plan for the future.
Something to look forward to.
And creating lifetime incomes that support that.
Right.
That are where you don't lose your money.
Yeah.
And how do we do that? Or how do we earn decent interest rates anymore without losing our money? All of that is absolutely possible, but we just haven't been educated, because it's not a lack of money problem in America. It's a lack of money education problem.
Right. And the other thing is people just usually tend to pay the bills and then whatever's left over, save, and then there's nothing left over. And so, that whole key about, paying yourself first means saving first and then paying the bills and then having fun.
Absolutely.
But having that balance, and that's what I think people need to, and they do, I think people know this, but they just don't impart it. And would you say that going to these groups and getting a circle of people around you and experts is a support system? And I always say everything works better with a support system. That's why things like Weight Watchers work well and stuff. It's support and accountability.
Oh, you hit the nail on the head there. I love it. Absolutely.
And so if people are going to improve their finances, they have to be able to visualize what they want, have the tools and education to start making something happen,
Right.
and then have the accountability factor.
Absolutely.
And so I love that you're bringing all of those things to the table and to the forefront. I hope more women get involved with your program or a program, a financial planner, and not be afraid to
Ask
talk
questions.
about it.
Compare.
Yeah.
You know what? We go.
And realize that almost everybody's in the same boat. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think women are so amazing because we're nurturing, we are sharers, we share what's really good and awesome in the world. And I always tell people, you know what, sometimes you might want to compare, right? Ask questions of somebody, see who's teaching you the most, who's actually able to help you learn how to ask what questions you want to ask, right? If you go to these events, it's just the starting platform and you go, oh, maybe I need to know more about this. Going to these events is, it's kind of like going shopping. There might be, 3 boutiques. You go into everyone opens their store for you. They pay for lights, they pay for employees, they pay for everything. But yet you're shopping to see what fits you.
Right. So it's not one size fits all, obviously.
No.
Right.
And it's understanding that. And again, being
Right.
taught it, not told.
Right. Taught, not told. I like that. So it's your decision.
It's your decision.
And so people can get a hold of you at flourish@ritaboccuzzi.com.
Yes.
Or find you on Facebook.
Yes.
And those are the two best ways to find out about your Wine, Women, and Wealth. And is there a Wine, Women, and Wealth Facebook page? Or not yet?
There's actually Wine Women Wealth is across the nation.
Oh.
I can't take credit for being the originator. There was a lovely gal named Denise Arand who started it in Carlsbad, California about 12 years ago.
And you do it here in this LA area.
And I launched the Los Angeles area because I saw it in Carlsbad and said, how come this is not out here?
Yes, oh, I love it.
And they basically told me that they were waiting for me.
Oh, I love
You know,
that.
ask a question. And it was so the right, as soon as she said that, I said, absolutely, we need this in the Los Angeles County area.
Yeah.
This is actually nationwide. So people
Wow.
can ask me and I can give them links to checking out where, because
that's
we want to
great.
empower women across the nation.
Right. So if someone is listening to this and they're in Minnesota or Wisconsin or Peoria,
Yep.
then they can still find a Wine, Women, and Wealth
Near
group
them.
that is great. I
Yep.
love that.
Yep. And if there are people that are impassioned that want to start one,
Yeah.
like I did,
Yeah.
we can teach them how to do that too.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I want to touch on today is your venture with tackling your cancer and what that meant. I know you call it that you had a financial cancer, and because cancer has touched so many of my friends, I want to address this because I can understand when you're going through that, having treatments and not being able to work and not feeling well. It's got to be overwhelming financially. What is it that you learned from your path that you share with other people going through that same situation, whether it's cancer or any health issue where they're having this financial impact? What's your advice to them?
So my advice to them for me was to really not focus on your health. That's number one.
Yeah.
But that can be challenging. But focus on something that gives you hope for the future. So for me, it was like I wanted to teach not only my children, but I really started with a vision of helping everyone else. Because sometimes the things that we have in our life are learning lessons. And if we can take something like our health issue and create it into a learning lesson for somebody else, I know that might sound kind of strange,
I
but
actually
it really
believe
is.
that everyone's obstacles leads to whatever they're meant to be doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, it's to find the resources, because there's a lot of resources. So if people don't know what resources, I can start to help them with that. And seeing, because there is so many for cancer patients. The one challenge for me personally was feeling like I was a burden. And I know when I say that, people who haven't had it maybe don't understand, because especially if you're going from being a breadwinner to being, having that, you need everyone else in your life. Actually, how somebody taught it to me was to envision that your situation allows people to step up and do good in their lives.
You know, it's so
And it's a
interesting.
gift.
It's interesting you're saying that. A friend of mine shared with me because she just was diagnosed with some cancer, and she said, I can't believe how all my friends have stepped up. This woman has given back to everyone for so many years that it's time for her to,
Receive.
accept and receive. And I'm so happy that she's doing that. And she's overwhelmed with
It is.
appreciation of how much love and support she's getting. And I think, that's the karma thing.
I
Is,
agree.
if we're living our lives helping other people, when it comes
it.
time
Yes.
for us to need a little help, then, we need to allow ourselves to receive that.
Right, and it's a
Yeah.
cycle of
Yeah,
receiving,
it's a
and it's a
cycle.
natural cycle. And
And maybe it's even happened to us for a reason to get us to learn how to receive. How about that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth,
Yeah.
because it is and I know personally for me to be on the receiving end was at first challenging, but then when I'm going to say surrendered to it, it was the most beautiful gift. I remember even writing a list of how many people helped me, whether it was a prayer or something. It was well over 200 people within a 10-month period.
Oh, wow.
It was extremely humbling.
That's when you realize that people are really wonderful and
They are.
amazing. As bad as things are in the world today, and there's a lot of challenging times that we're going through, it's really so encouraging in those times to see how people really rally around each
There is
other.
an equal and I think a greater amount of good. I
Yes.
really, in
Oh,
my
I
in
agree
my
with you.
world, I believe that, and
I
it's just
agree.
finding
Yes.
the right people, hanging out with those people. The other thing that I would also encourage is to
Your
listen.
little
I
tear,
know,
so
sorry,
sweet. I love it.
because it really touches my heart. It's
Yes, me too. Yeah.
videos, positive videos, positive
Yes.
affirmations,
Yes.
super important. They change your lives.
Right.
Reading books,
Yes.
maybe even having somebody that's a partner for you that goes through it. And sometimes they just sit with you
Yeah.
because there's nothing else. And
Yeah.
that presence is priceless.
Oh my gosh, that kind of love cannot be even put into
You don't
words.
have to do much. So if you're
Yeah.
on the opposite side and
Yeah.
you don't know what to do for somebody,
Just
just
be
ask
with
them if
them.
you can just be present. Bring
Yeah.
a book with you and just sit there.
Yeah.
If they need a glass of water, or if they
Yeah.
just need you to just sit and be silent with them, sometimes that was the best gift that I was ever given.
That's beautiful advice.
Just to know somebody was right there for me.
And I'm so happy to know that you are well.
I'm well. I've been in
And
remission 7 years.
That's wonderful. God bless.
Thank you.
And taking your experience and making such good out of it, helping other people and to empower women in particular, I think is just a wonderful way to be using your gift of loving, the knowledge of financial information and that you so enjoy sharing that. And I imagine that you have some stories of people that you've educated in these workshops
Yes.
that it's turned their life around, which
Absolutely.
I'm sure is what makes you do what you're doing.
I love it.
If you might want to share one of those.
Sure. One of them is this lovely lady ended up at one of our free workshops, one of the Wine Women Wealth, and she wanted to set up a tax-free college savings for her daughter. And when we met with her, we asked her if she had a policy that had what's called living benefits, and she didn't. And she said, you know what, I'd like to set that up because she understood that if something happened to her being a single mom, it would pay her while she is alive. Like if she had a critical or chronic or terminal illness, something like, a heart attack, cancer, stroke.
Right.
Well, 2 years later, she had just that. She had a diagnosis of cancer
Oh my gosh.
and, single mom. And she ended up getting a check of $300,000 from her $400,000 term policy. She took that check. She quit her stressful job. She got naturopathic treatment, which was the treatment that she wanted and needed that insurance would not cover.
Right.
She took a dream trip with her daughter.
Oh my gosh.
She went to see her parents in Europe. And she started her dream career. So she de-stressed, got treatment that she needed, and it saved her financial household. She did not miss a beat.
Wow. And couldn't have done that had she not invested in that.
Nope.
And probably invested very little.
Very little.
Oh
very
my
little.
Gosh, that's a great story.
And most people just don't even know that that's, I'm going to say probably over 92% of Americans don't even know that that's possible.
Right.
And that's why we want to educate women.
There's so many things that people need to be educated on. And as we wrap up, let's just talk about a few of them. Life insurance is one.
Yes.
But there's different types
There's
of life
different
insurance,
kinds.
and there's good and there's bad, and
Yep.
people have to educate themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why we hold the classes.
Yeah, I just know the family had an interesting situation with life insurance that it only went till they were 89, and so
Right.
all the money they paid in would be gone. And
Right.
Anyway, there's all
Yeah.
those
Yep,
caveats.
there's
So
all those things.
Important to get with the right people that are not there to make money on the product, but to actually have your best interest at heart.
Absolutely.
What are some other annuities and
I would say, fixed indexed annuities
Uh-huh.
for some people like myself, because once you have cancer, you can't qualify for things.
Right.
So I'd like to educate people on the front end so you don't end up like me, where you're wishing and hoping you could have the most powerful financial instruments in the world.
So some of them you could have had before you were diagnosed. Gotcha.
Yeah, and that is so important to learn about
Right.
those tax-free
Yes.
index accounts, understanding. And what are the difference? What are living benefits? What are the differences from companies to company?
Right.
And why is that crucial, like you were saying, to when you need it?
Right. And when people don't really like to talk finances, but they know they need to, they could come to a workshop like this and on their own decide which things make sense for them, put them into play, and then they're almost on autopilot, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the beauty of it. You really, once you put your autopilot, and and people can start with very little. I think they think, oh, well, when I have the money, then I'll go set it up. No, no, no.
Right.
Get started, no matter how little it is that you start with, right?
Right,
You know, if
absolutely.
you're putting in $25 a week or whatever.
Whatever
you know.
it is.
Yeah.
And we can help sit down. We do one-on-one meetings as well. So I have a big, fabulous team of people here in LA and again across the nation that will sit down with you and just start to have the conversation.
Right.
Because it really is a long-term relationship with your money and with the right advisor, and so that this way you can create the lifestyle from today
Right.
till your future while you're vacationing and traveling the world.
You help people take a look at their income and whatnot, and budget, like you help them set up
Absolutely.
a budget.
Yep, we will help with that as well. Absolutely.
Great. Well, I hope we send people your way that could benefit from it. I always say if we help one person, we've done our job
Absolutely.
here today. And
Thank you.
you so much for
Thank
being
you,
on and for the
Catherine,
wonderful
for
work
having
you're
me.
doing.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And I'm so glad you're healthy and thriving, and I know your family is doing well.
Yes.
Yeah.
My one son is traveling in Europe right now,
Yeah.
and have another one that's getting married next year at 25 years old. It's a lot of exciting, fascinating things happening in our lives right now.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for doing the good work, and be sure to look for Flourish at Rita Boccuzzi, or you can always look up Wine, Women, and Wealth on Facebook, or you can look up Rita Boccuzzi on Facebook. Also, be sure to visit us at 360karma.com, where we always believe in helping you create your fate with wonderful resources like Rita. All right, well, make it a great week, and we will see you next Wednesday at noon. Make it a great week, and hugs and happiness.
Thank you.